What is this? The dueling ideologies of Rise of Ronin, pro-shogunate, anti-shogunate, and Western forces. Oh my God, guys, it is Ramadan. I cannot nut this hard. Okay, stop. Stop playing with my feelings. Stop playing with my soul. I have already nutted one time learning about Adin Ross and Andrew Tate. You are making me nut again. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Stop. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. Holy fuck, dude. All right. We're going to do all of this. I'm blasting off. I'm literally blasting off. No pun intended. I've already blasted off in my pants, but I'm also blasting off on top of, you know, the Twitter, the platform. What is happening to me? Okay. Adin Ross gets Andrew Tate arrested. Robert. Oh, I started watching Warrior as well. I started watching Warrior. It's kind of cheesy, but I like it. This was an HBO show that was like heavily recommended, and it got on Netflix, so I was like, finally, I'm gonna watch it. And honestly, I don't know. It's pretty good. It's a little cheesy though. It started off a little cheesy. It's cheese. Too many sex scenes. Warrior got canceled. Beware. That's such a funny. Warrior got canceled. Beware. Yeah, Kaya is tired because I took her out to the park this morning and she sprinted for like an hour with other dogs. She refuses to play fetch, but she plays fetch with other animals. Okay? She will play fetch with other animals. She refuses to do anything else. She literally will be like, "Oh no, it's great. Like, I'm at the dog park. This is my favorite. I love the dog park. Look at all the toys I have here." And the toys are not actually toys, it's other dogs. Like, she literally is like, "Oh no, this is great. I will play tug of war with a dog." Not like with another dog and a piece of rope. I'm talking like she will tug the dog. I'm obviously exaggerating. Like, she's very good at play. She's very balanced in the sense that like she loves dishing it out. She'll do ground and pound. Like, she puts her entire fucking body weight on top of a dog. Like, will jump up and like slap a dog down and stuff. But then she'll also be submissive. Like, she gets on her back and will let the other dog like have fun. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't just dominate. She also will play the role of a submissive dog as well. It's very good. It's like it's a really healthy, balanced way to play. That means that like she's not selfish and annoying and abusive, but instead she's just playing to have fun. Guys, stop saying she's a switch and she's verse. She's a baby. She's my baby, and you guys are being kind of fucking weird using sex terms. I'm saying submissive, but I don't mean it in a sex term way. I mean it in like the normal way, in the way that you would talk about an animal. Okay? I thought Muslim could have had pets inside. Not trying to be rude. I'm just uneducated in Islam. Bitch, I'm drinking coffee right now. The fuck do you mean? First of all, any rule that any religion has can be fucking totally interpreted differently. That's number one. Okay? A lot of Muslims on average will be like afraid of dogs, I think, but still, it doesn't matter. They're more cat people, I think. Muslims are more cat people. It has nothing to do with the religion itself, though, other than the fact that cats are canonically Muslim, like across the board internationally. But like my grandfather is not like a religious person at all, and he fucking doesn't understand why I have a dog in the house. You know what I mean? He thinks that like it's dirty and there's supposed to be one rule and one rule only for the dog. It's just a cultural thing, and that's like the dog is supposed to stay outside and it's supposed to protect the house. Like, what the fuck are you doing with the dog inside the house? You know, is like kind of his approach to it. Did this annoy you in Turkey? No. You get used to it. This one is just a double guy, but they also have Zurna too. Like this is like he only has like he's seen only half of the process. There's also a Zurnaja too, which is a horn. But usually it's double to wake people up for sahur, to eat before the sun goes up. Because if you don't do that, then you're Shauman YC, the Chinese New York white guys in Turkey, has a video out. Yeah, I heard he went to a hammam. Isn't that cheating? What? No, dude. Why would it be cheating? It's like saying, isn't it cheating if you eat first thing as soon as the sun goes down? No, it's not cheating at all. That's like the allotted window. That's the whole point. Those are just the rules. Anyway, all right, let's blast off. Adin Ross gets Andrew Tate arrested. Robert Hur talks Biden's age and senility. Bro, it's Shalma, New York City, because he lives in New York. In Morocco, we have Medfas. Shout out to Adin Ross. Shout out On God. That's a W King. On God, no disrespect. I didn't know you were with it like that. I didn't know you had it in you. I didn't know you had that dog in you. On God, WW. Can I get some W's in the chat? Can I get some W's in the chat for Adin? W for real, Adin. That's right. For real, straight up. This man, dude, it's so funny. That's so hilarious, dude. Yeah, come on. It feels fake. Like, it feels like Adin Ross gets Andrew Tate arrested. Robert Hur talks Biden's age and senility and more. Let's get some W's in the chat. It's like a little treat that we get, you know what I mean? In a sea of like awful news overall, there's like a little bit of a treat that you get, I guess. Yeah, I saw the Evan Hill banger. Did you see Tate's white supremacy dog whistle this week? And it's still weird. Muslim bros simp for that guy. Yes, bro, because a lot of people don't understand. First of all, American Muslims are very different than like UK Muslims, okay, in their attitude in general. But also in like the Muslim community, there are plenty of fucking dumbasses too. It's not like exclusive to white Christians. Like, Muslims can be hogs too, and there are a shit ton of them, okay? And it sucks, and there's not really anything you can do about it. Like, a lot of these dudes don't realize that they are hyping up a dude who is just a grifter. The thing is, like, a lot of Muslims also love when people convert. Like, they love that shit. They're like, oh, this is so sick. I get it. Like, they basically think like, oh, this guy's like showing respect. They're used to, in the Western world, what they're used to is hatred. What they're used to is anger and resentment. So when someone actually turns around and reverts to Islam, they're like, oh, how beautiful. This is perfect. And because of that, I don't think they have a way of legitimately reading that when like a grifter is doing it, because they get really excited. That's it. Do they like Sean King now? I mean, they already been liking Sean King internationally. Sean King, like, all jokes aside, I think like straight up Sean King is beloved in like the Palestinian communities. You know what I mean? And pro-Palestinian communities for the most part. Many of you probably have parents that are like really invested in Sean King if they're Arab. Anyway, crazy to think about, but true. Yeah, no, I'm telling you, you got some aunties out there who are fucking probably ride or die for Sean King. Many of them don't know his like background in general. All right, so let's get started on the clip that got Andrew Jebediah Tate arrested. Lads, not every day do you hear fucking beautiful news on a Tuesday about an oil bruv like this, yeah. Fucking hell. Turns out, Andrew Tate in the Adin Ross in the most shitty henchman way possible. Shouts out to Lil Overrule for that joke. Adin Ross, one of the fucking major tater tots, turned out and turned Andrew Tate in on a fucking Tuesday, nonetheless. Fucking hell, mate. Fucking hell, lads. Here's the clip. Let's roll the fucking video.
Andrew had hit me up. He said, hey, I'm going to be leaving Romania soon and probably never coming back. If you want to come over and do a week of long streams and content before I leave, I think it'll be big. And I'm sorry, he said it's basically now or never. So
there's nothing funnier than, okay, I thought this was just Adin Ross being stupid. Turns out it's Andrew Tate also being stupid. They're both stupid. I had not watched this clip until this very moment, but it is fucking hilarious that Andrew Tate, who is under criminal investigation, is fucking dumb enough to be like, yeah, I'm gonna leave the country. Hello, I am going to illegally run away from the country where I am being prosecuted. Hello, Adin. Like, it turns out it's not, you're dumb for telling Adin something like this because he's going to obviously reveal it. But you're also incredibly dumb for tweeting this, or not, I mean, tweeting this, sorry, texting this in general. Like, what are you, guys, okay, listen to me, okay? Crime tip. If you're going to do a crime, okay, don't fucking text anyone about the crime that you're doing. Are you stupid? That will be used against you in the investigation. Don't fucking text the crime. Don't Google, like, how to do a murder, how to hide a body. Because if you do any of those things, right, and don't even do it incognito, they can still take that shit from your ISP. What a lot of people don't comprehend, what a lot of people don't get, is that, like, all of that stuff can be used against you in a court of law. So if you're going to do crime, which don't do it, obviously, but if you're going to do the crime, don't fucking Google it, dumbass. Don't Google it. Don't text it. You're stupid. You're a stupid person for texting and Googling, and especially stupid for telling someone like fucking Adin Ross. Hoist it on your own petard, ladies and gentlemen. Incredible stuff. Incredible. Couldn't have happened in a funnier fucking way.
And this is just, I told you guys this year, it's a week of content, right? And again, guys, it might be the last time we ever do this. So it's kind of like we got to take advantage of it now because, hey, bro, it's basically like
Adin is an L-man's ain't no way. What is he doing? Like, what is he doing? Also, my take on, for the record, my take on the Romanian criminal justice system, guys, come on now, okay? Come on, finish the investigation, wrap it up. The fuck are we doing? Like, as much as I personally enjoy how funny it is that he's like constantly in legal struggles and whatnot, but like, I would like to, I would like to see some justice. And honestly, like, it is getting to a point where it's like a little bit crazy how long it's fucking taking. You know what I mean? It's a little bit crazy how long it's taking. Like, come on now. Come on now, dog. Come on, big dog. What are we doing here? Obviously, the situation is probably even way more dog shit for poor people that are in the throes of the criminal justice system, even in a place like the United States of America, which has significantly more resources. It still doesn't matter. There are plenty of people who are like locked in fucking Rikers awaiting a court date and in torturous conditions. But like, come on.
Like, yeah, it's like that. And then Andrew had hit me up. He said, hey, I'm going to be leaving Romania soon and probably.
Anyway, that's so funny that this happened. Here is the post from McHugh, Jury, and Partners. Statement in response to Andrew Tate being detained in Romania and issued with a UK arrest warrant. McHugh, Jury, and Partners represents 4 British women who accuse Andrew Tate of rape and serious physical and sexual assaults. Our client's allegations were the subject of an investigation in the United Kingdom by the Hertfordshire Constabulary. This morning, it came to our attention that Tate has been detained. Wait, hold on. In Romania, after an arrest warrant, an extradition request was issued by the authorities in the United Kingdom to Romania in respect of allegations of sexual offenses during the same period in which our clients allege Tate raped and assaulted them. Last week, we received the information that Tate might have been planning to flee Romania. Hold on. Where the fuck did it go? Oh, here it is. We wrote to the British police to bring this to their attention and to urge them to immediately seek a warrant for Tate's detention in Romania and extradition to the UK. So, as far as I understand it, what is going on is once the Romanian court case is over, he will be extradited into the UK. I don't know if he has like a free moment in between where his freedom of travel is like somewhat restricted, where he could just like legally escape to Dubai or some shit, or a place where like there's no extradition policy to the UK. But beyond that, if he wants to operate in the Western world, I suspect that he will get clapped up. Israel arc, no shot. I mean, the Israel arc actually does track, but that's grifting in the other direction. It tracks with his crimes, but it doesn't actually matter because like there's two ways out. Okay, listen. If you have been caught doing sex crimes, okay, there's two ways out of it. All right, you either immediately go to Israel, no extradition policy, and many people do that. Okay, many people do that, or you go to either Russia or one of these other countries. And if you're like really right wing and you've talked shit about Israel, you got to go to Russia. Okay, if you're really right wing and love Israel, you go to Israel. That's how it works. Also, Adin said in the clip he knew Tate was getting locked up. He didn't say that for a while. Yeah, unfortunately he already went. Where does Polanski fall into that? Okay, Polanski falls into the one other area, okay, which is France, where it's legal and encouraged. Jeez. It's not top of the hour, dude. What the fuck? You can't hit me with that. It's 11:49. Okay, yes. If you win Oscars, then it doesn't matter. Okay, you could be in France. So while we cannot and do not comment on any knowledge of ongoing investigations, we are grateful that the British authorities have decided to take action, and take heed of our concerns and the concerns of our clients. Tate is accused of serious criminal offenses against a large number of victims and must be held accountable for those actions. We will be releasing a fuller statement on behalf of our clients shortly. That's what he said. Okay, all seriousness, like all jokes aside, if we're gonna be serious about it, like I've said, I think, we need to figure out what the fuck's going on, conclude the Romanian court case, and then have the court case play itself out in the UK as well. Really funny though that like Andrew Tate is stupid enough to fucking text that he's gonna like flee the country when there's a second court case happening potentially in the UK. So that's really dumb of him, and it's additionally dumb of him to say it to Adin Ross, who is a fucking dumbass. Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate have been arrested again by Romanian authorities under a UK warrant. They were arrested over sexual misconduct in two separate cases from 2012 to 2015. Love is blinding, and he loves Adin. I think he loves clout. It is wild to me how much this dude is like in and out of prison and jail and shit, though. Oh shit! The Romanian courts have approved the request to extradite Andrew Tate. Bucharest. A Romanian court has approved a request for Britain to extradite internet personality Andrew Tate, but postponed doing so until Romanian trials proceedings finish. The court said on Tuesday it had also ruled that Tate and his brother, Tristan, should be released from police custody immediately. The Tates have been detained for 24 hours pending a ruling on the British arrest warrant. The Court of Appeal said in a statement that it rules to execute the arrest warrant and to postpone handing over the requested person until the final verdict in the criminal case argued at the Bucharest court. Tate and his brother Tristan were detained on Monday night on allegations of sexual aggression dating back to 2012 and 2015, which Tate categorically denies. PR team said the warrant was issued by Westminster Magistrates Courts in London. We are innocent men. We are very innocent men in time, everyone is going to see that. And we are very excited to finish this judicial process and clear our names, Tate said as he was released from police custody. It's very funny because I've been asking Romanian courts to go to the UK myself. I've asked 5 times and been declined. So now I get to go home. That's fantastic news. This guy literally said he went to Romania so he wouldn't get Me Too'd in Romania like he would get Me Too'd in England. And now he's like, oh, I really want to go back to England, where he has a literal sexual assault trial waiting for him. What the fuck is going on? That's not even like, that's not a joke. That's not a joke. That's straight up like actually what is going on here. He said that. He literally said that. England has gotten more reactionary since he left. He might stand a chance now. No. One last time, law, but 2 was actually released and made a statement in front of the media as right now. Yeah. The UK is Garbaggio with convincing sexual assault, though, right? Yes. I think the UK is really bad at this kind of stuff. However, this is so high profile, and I do think like politics will play a role because it's so high profile. I think politics will play a role, and it will cause the UK courts to potentially do like a decent job at this prosecution. Prince Andrew was high profile. Yes, but Prince Andrew is a fucking prince. Hello? Andrew Tate is the prince of incels. The fuck? Are you comparing a small time like alleged sex trafficker that had to do his operations in Romania to the guy that sex traffickers like Jeffrey Epstein bow down to? Andrew Tate is not even a fucking fraction of Jeffrey Epstein. Andrew Tate is like literally the level 1 mafia version of Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was serving the interests of Andrew Tate. So not Andrew Tate, sorry, Prince Andrew. They're both Andrew. That's it. That's as close as you're gonna get. Like one is quite literally and definitionally a small bean trafficker. Yes. The problem for Andrew Tate is that he is not like, this is high profile almost entirely because he gloats too much. He gloats too much and he's pissed off the wrong moms and dads. Okay. That's it. Like he would have 100% been able to get away with everything that he's doing if he wasn't so fucking vocal about flexing non-stop about utilizing the lover boy method and, you know, implementing coercive measures on the people that he had hired to do webcam work and stuff like that. So that is like the major reason. And also on top of that, he got like too famous for his own fucking good, being the incel warlord, basically. So he pissed off too many fucking Tory moms. That's what it is. He pissed off conservative moms. When conservative moms, like white conservative moms, were like, I don't know what's going on. My son is calling our daughter a bitch. That's it. It's Jover at that point. Okay? Too many fucking moms in positions of fucking power. White moms who are powerful, conservative, elite. Too many of them were like, no. We need to put a fucking end to this. That's what got him fucking cooked. Okay? Like a little bit of conservatism is fine. He hammed it on way too much. All these like 12-year-olds are running around being like, get your money up. Fuck you, bitch. I will piss my pants. It's actually alpha dog to shit your diapers. It's like, the what? What do you mean? What is going on? You're a baby. Stop. Be a baby. Be a fucking baby. Why do you have this weird accent like you fucking grew up in either Luton or Gary, Indiana? What's going on? It's like a mixture of both. Hello? I will piss my pants, bitch. It's me being Sigma. The UK is so cool. I saw this guy the other day. No woke, no lefties, no 15-minute cities, hate racism, 2 genders, MAGA, reform UK, no Islam, stop the boats, LFC. Oh, wait. Liverpool. He says he hates Islam. No fucking works. No fucking lefties hate racism. No, I fuck. Liverpool Football Club. Not a true Scouser then. Hate Islam. Love Liverpool. Simple as. Yeah. What does YNWA mean? You will never wank alone, mate. Wait, really? You will never wank alone, mate. Fuck. Follow back. Radical Muslims. No radical Muslims. Love your fellow man. You will. How are you a fucking Scouser who loves MAGA? What the fuck? Liverpool slogan? Only Muslim he likes is Mo Salah. Your accent is just slowly turning into Canute hating Islam. Make the colonies great again. Your accents the past few days have been actually racist against white people somehow. It's like discovering a mammal on Mars. They didn't think it could happen. I love the Scouser accent. It's because I've been watching The Gentleman on Netflix, and I think it kind of sucks. It's like disappointing. Mostly because of the main character. But there's like a Scouser in it. We're gonna fucking raid Central Committee. Thanks for the raid. Hope you had a good one. YNWA is their chant song. See Hillsborough disaster for Liverpool. You'll find it interesting. The Gentleman is like, all right. What's wrong with the main character? He's literally just a wet blanket. He is just like, he is so utterly replaceable. Not The Gentleman, the movie, by the way. This is the show that Guy Ritchie made for Netflix. And honestly, it is not good. Let's keep it $1.50. It's not that good. Anyway. British police told Reuters the Tates were a part of an ongoing investigation into allegations of rape and human trafficking, adding they were working with Romanian authorities. We appreciate the Bucharest Court of Appeal's decision to postpone the extradition of Andrew and Tristan Tate. Eugene Vidniak, legal counsel for the defendants, said in a statement, this ruling provides an opportunity for the brothers to participate fully in their defense and for the legal process to proceed in a transparent manner. Sorry, I'm seeing if she's going to try to get away from place here because... What the fuck? Why'd you guys say join us in following Nandre? It is literally Central PA that raided me. Oh, Nandre raided me too. What the fuck? God damn. 2 raids in a row? What is happening right now? I'm blessed. Join us in following Nandre. Join us in following Central Committee. We got 2. We got the double raid. What? Double raid, double rainbow, baby. That's crazy. Okay. Nice of them to support small streamers. Exactly. Thank you for the raid, guys. You know, this is finally, I think I can go full time on this. This has been my dream. Why don't you raid more often? I literally raid every night. You are so dumb. I bet you only watch me in the fucking morning, so you never see the end of my stream. I literally raid someone every fucking day. Why are you like this? Unless you mean, why don't you fucking raid while I'm watching in the first hour of your stream? It's because you come in here and you watch for 3 hours maybe, which is understandable, and then you think that like as soon as you're done watching, the stream is over. Just Will and Nez? That's not true. Anyway, apparently the Stone Toss, the racist comics guy, had his picture leaked. He looks like you think he does. Of course he does. They want you to raid these guys who aren't streaming when you log off, surely? Yeah, probably. No, I raid Frogan, I raid Nesua, I raid Will, I raid Carter sometimes, I raid Nandre sometimes. I raid a bunch of people. Anyway, like I said, I'm an up-and-coming streamer. Thank you for coming on to my stream. Thank you for the raid, Nandre. Thank you for the raid. Michael from Pennsylvania, also known as I raid Cutie as well. Michael from Pennsylvania, also known as Central_Committee. As you guys know, your support is causing me to be able to do this full time, and also, causing me to serve you 3-minute ad breaks at the top of the hour, which you can avoid by subscribing for $5 or for free. Wish you would have some stripper organizers on stream sometime. Someone told me they met you and that you were disinterested in their stories. Wait, what? I was disinterested in their stories? What? That's not true, but that's pretty funny. Zoantharian, that's what she said. Yeah, they probably came up to me when I'm like trying to escape an event. And we're like, okay, here's the thing. When I go to an event, okay, when I go to an event, and I do it often, when I go to an event as a speaker or as like, as someone who is rarely ever outside, there are a lot of people that want me to work with them. So immediately, like if I have to go somewhere right after and I'm trying to leave, people usually come up and they're like, hey, you like, what's going on? Like let's make something happen. Your social battery is probably drained. No, no, it's because no, I'm not saying I'm tired. I'm saying like I usually have something else that I need to attend or some shit like that. So then if someone catches me as I'm like bailing out, as I'm dipping, I probably am coming across as I'm a little disinterested. I asked Hassan once if he would raid me. He said, be quiet, loser. This is my space. I am the leftist god. He then called me the F slur and got into his gold-plated Hummer. This is true in a real story. Yes. Anyway. It's likely that you need to recover from doing such a difficult and physically taxing job. Yes, that's what it is. Thank you, 35 month subscriber. That's exactly what it is. Listen, guys. I dropped a tactical F slur in that altercation that was very real, okay? A big one. And I did it so I could show my interlocutors that the word doesn't scare me. Okay, someone has to have the copy pasta. Interpol, Romanian police POV, yes. I work 23 hours in a labor factory and you're a better worker and the most leftist ever existed. Thank you. The presumed shared knowledge of goblin porn still sticks in my brain. He has so many good fucking bars, dude. He is the GOAT, really. Bosch is the GOAT. Here's the, yeah. In this video, I drop an N-bomb. Big one. Hard R. I did this to show my interlocutors that their language doesn't impress me, that their slurs don't frighten me or disarm me. You can see from their reactions that it worked. They were clearly taken aback. It was a power move, which I am entirely unashamed of, but I understand how that language might have upset some of you. This is an example of what I would call an invocation of a slur's power for good, but that's a subjective judgment. I invite you all to discuss this in the comments, critically or otherwise. I can just like, dude, I love this so much because it appeals to like a very specific person, and that specific person is so... Down. Good girl. Don't you dare. It's like this is so tailored, so perfectly catered to like the whitest dude you know, okay? The whitest dude you know who's on his own personal journey to unlearn some of the toxic things that he had learned. So we finally arrived at a guy who also wants healthcare, but also will say the N-word tactically. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so perfect. It's so online. This guy exists only on the internet and also in high school, but usually you can just kind of like smell him and avoid him. Whereas on the internet, you really can't because they have the capacity to make like 1,000 different fucking versions of this. As a black person, real, it's cathartic to have someone else say this. Anyway. I shit my pants, not only to prove that I'm in full command of my body, but to disarm him into asking, doesn't his mom do his laundry? Yes, it's so good. It's perfect. I found someone whose job is harder than yours. What? Japanese man rents himself out offering nothing in particular? Why are you trapping females on display? Are you talking about my dog? Japan is such a magical place. I know. All right. Let's finish up this fucking Andrew Tate shit so we can get to the other news. Tate, who gained millions of fans by promoting an ultra-masculine lifestyle, was indicted in June in Romania along with his brother and two Romanian women for human trafficking. rape and forming a criminal gang to sexually exploit women. They have denied the charges. The case has since been with the Bucharest court's preliminary chamber, which needs to decide whether the trial can start. A decision has yet to be made with Romanian courts backlog. The Tate brothers were held in police custody pending the criminal investigation from late December 2022 until April to prevent them from fleeing the country or tampering with evidence. They were placed under house arrest until August. They have since been under judicial control, a lighter preventative measure, meaning they have regular check-ins with the police, but can move around freely except for leaving the country. That's it. Except for when you reveal your plans to the dumbest person you possibly could, who then talks about it on stream, and then the law enforcement hears about it. Yeah. Also, here's a quick moment of "Are we the bad guys?" Here's a "Are we the bad guys?" moment. Okay, which instead of showing you Joey Rex tweet, I'm going to show you someone who at least all these people that would normally fucking despise me, but they will respect because he's a Washington Post journalist. I mean, here it is, literally. It's just like, there's no way you don't see what you're doing. This is like deliberate, right? I just don't understand it. Hello? The fuck's going on here? Like, this is so perfectly American too, because listen, we're talking about the Navy, okay? All these dudes did not join because they thought they were gonna go fucking laser brown kids, okay? They joined because they thought, oh, it'll be a fun little journey on a boat for a little bit, and then I can get my fucking college paid. Okay? So half of them are gay as hell and super fucking nerdy. It's just like, I think that it is ridiculous to not recognize what's going on here. You know what I mean? Theater kid behavior. I mean, this is like, I would say this is a poverty draft in display. Okay. That's what I would say. Like, I don't think these dudes think that they are the bad guys at all. It is pretty funny that they are doing the bad guy thing, though, not recognizing that they are the bad guys. In this circumstance. Thoughts on this? My dog ate my Yowie, bruh. Wait, what? I don't want to fucking I don't want to click on this. Did you see how they brought trucks into Gaza? How odd that they can make Israel open the gates for these, but they can't for the food trucks. And the U.S. and Israel deliberately starving Palestinians. Truck entered Gaza, however, not to extract the wounded and martyrs from under the rubble. No, families are left to unbury their dead barehanded. The machinery is to implement America's sea corridor and impose an American-Israeli military base. That's insane. Like, why? Every fucking day, man. Every day. It's just every day I feel like I'm losing my goddamn mind. Why? Because it is so obvious. There is one solution, okay? It's to get Israel to stop blowing shit up. Get Israel to stop blowing shit up. Because it's not like the fucking humanitarian convoy that goes in is under serious threat from anyone else other than Israel. Like, Israel is the one blowing them up. Every goddamn day we find a new, a new UN convoy getting fucking lasered by Israel. And then they're like, yeah, sorry, we just can't bring humanitarian aid in here. We just can't stop ourselves from fucking blowing your shit up. Turns out you can actually. It's going to be crazy when they build this, right? It's a joint mission and they're building it together. And then they're still going to blow it up. It's going to be wild when it happens. Israel's going to build a port and then claim Hamas attacks it. Yeah. And then we're going to have a 7-week fucking conversation about, like, was it Hamas that attacked the port? Does Hamas legitimately have Mark 84 rockets? Because it seems like this was a 2-ton munition that was deployed into the port. How did this happen? And then everyone will be like, you're wrong for fucking not immediately assuming that Hamas blew up the fucking port. Yeah. And then America will quietly reveal that it was Israel, but like, it's fine. You know, we'll urge them to do an investigation on why they decided to blow up American service members or some shit. Classic stuff. And also, yeah, the seaport's not even going to be ready for like 2 months. Aren't you bored of this meta? It's not a meta. These are real people that are fucking dying, okay? For me, it's important. For me, it's important to cover this kind of thing and talk about it. Obviously, I'm gonna try to cover it as like in like cheerier terms, so it's more interesting, more dynamic for people who are out of touch and not really interested. You know, so the language that I use can sometimes come across as like, come across as though it's not like serious issues, but it is serious issues. Bro called it a meta, absolutely insensitive. Yeah, of course bro called it a meta because bro is living in America and very out of touch. That's it. And so do I, by the way, but you know.
Now, the former special counsel who questioned President Biden and concluded he was a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory will himself be questioned on Capitol Hill today. Former U.S. Attorney Robert Hur had been appointed to investigate the president's handling of classified material. Now everyone's mad at him. Scott McFarland's on Capitol Hill following it. Scott, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Tony. The president and his supporters were quick to criticize Robert Hur's characterization of the president's age and memory. It is sure to be a marathon.
I think the Sam Cedar interview won you back viewers. No, because if people watch the Majority Report and they watch me, they're already in here. What are you, crazy? They can hear Sam Cedar's words for themselves if they watch Sam and watch me. No, these are people who like claim that they're Sam Cedar fans still, but they don't actually watch Sam, that fucking despise me. That's it. We have the same audience.
Hearing with heated arguments just as the general election is beginning. Former special counsel Robert Hur's report last month found no criminal charges were warranted against President Biden over his handling of classified records that date back to his time as vice president.
I did not break the law, period.
Hur controversially added Mr. Biden would likely present himself to a jury, as he did during our interview with him, as a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory.
You think it was appropriate?
I think it was unnecessary for him to do that. It wasn't part of the bottom line as to why he didn't bring charges.
GOP lawmakers are expected to grill Hur, a Republican tapped by the Attorney General to oversee the probe, about what they call a double standard against former President Donald Trump, who has been criminally charged over his alleged mishandling of documents.
This guy's being charged and this guy's not. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Hur's report underscored the differences, saying President Biden turned in documents and consented to a search, while Trump not only refused to return the documents for many months, but he also obstructed justice by enlisting others to destroy evidence. Trump denies those claims and has pleaded not guilty to all 40 felony counts.
This is not a witch hunt.
Brian Butler, a longtime employee at the former president's Mar-a-Lago estate, is a key witness in the case against Trump. Butler's cooperating with federal investigators and says he unknowingly moved boxes of classified material onto Trump's plane at the direction of the former president.
Robert Hur, is that some god-dang pronouns? Hey, him. Why isn't it Robert him? That's clearly a man. That's a boy. Fuck you mean, Robert Hur?
President's aide and co-defendant Walt Nada. The same day, Trump met with the FBI.
White bankers' boxes. That's what I remember loading. Piling them up. I remember they were all stacked on top of each other, and then we're lifting them up to the pilots.
Walt Nada has pleaded not guilty to conspiring with Trump to obstruct the investigation. As for Robert Hur, he's expected to push back on criticism, saying his characterization of the president's age was fair, accurate, and necessary, according to advanced copies of his testimony posted by Politico. Nate?
All right, Scott, thank you.
We will now introduce today's witness. The Honorable Robert Hur was appointed as a special counsel in January 2023 to investigate the removal and retention of classified documents discovered at the Penn Biden Center for Diplomacy and Global Engagement. He previously served as the Principal Associate Deputy Attorney General at the Department of Justice and as the United States Attorney for the District of Maryland. He was a law clerk for Chief Justice William Rehnquist and also clerked for Judge Alex Kaczynski on the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. We welcome our witness and thank him for appearing today. We will begin by swearing you in. Mr. Hur, would you please stand? Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief, so help you God? Let the record reflect that the witness has answered in the affirmative. Thank you, and you can be seated. Please know that your written testimony will be entered into the record in its entirety. Accordingly, we ask that you summarize your testimony. Mr. Hur, you may begin with your opening statement. Make sure you got that mic on, if you could, Mr. Hur. Thank you.
Yeah, where's Tom Cotton? You know what I mean? Where's Tom Cotton when you need him to be like, what kind of Chinese are you? I've encountered many different kinds of Chinese in my day. I've encountered the Singaporean Chinese, and I've encountered the Japanese Chinese. So tell me, what kind of Chinese are you?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Nadler, Chairman Comer, Ranking Member Raskin, members of the committee, good morning. I'm privileged to have served our country for the majority of my career, a decade and a half, most of those years with the Department of Justice. I have served.
If one more person asks me if I've seen the Boeing stuff, I'm going to do the Boeing stuff to myself. Of course I've seen the Boeing stuff. I covered it yesterday. I will cover it again today. Okay? Please. Oh my God. Like, yes, I have. Of course I have seen the Boeing stuff. Yes. I'm going to make like a fucking whistleblower that has worked at Boeing for 32 goddamn years, right at the precipice of a motherfucking DOJ investigation into Boeing, as I testified 3 days prior in a hotel parking lot. If you keep asking me if I have covered the Boeing stuff or if I've seen the Boeing stuff, stop asking.
Served as a line prosecutor, a supervisor, the Principal Associate Deputy Attorney General, a United States Attorney, and a special counsel. I've served in these roles with gratitude as the son of immigrants to this country, the first member of my family to be born here. My parents grew up in Korea and were young children during the Korean War. My father remember.
Oh, so he's that kind of Chinese. Got it. You can't get that past me. Okay, he them Southern Chinese, them Korean kind.
Being hungry and grateful for the food that American GIs shared with him and his siblings. My mother fled what is now North Korea in her own mother's.
This is very Yakuza plot point. The secret Korean.
Arms, heading south to safety. My parents eventually met, married, and came to the U.S., seeking a better life for themselves and for their children. Their lives and mine would have been very different were it not for this country. No matter the role, no matter the administration, I have applied the same standards and the same impartiality. My respect for the Justice Department and my commitment to this country are why I agreed to serve as special counsel when asked by the Attorney General. I resolved to do the work as I did all my work for the department, fairly, thoroughly.
Okay, boring. I don't care. This guy's literally a Republican. He obviously has to like give his backstory. Now, for people who are wondering like, why is he giving his backstory? It's because of the jokes that I've been making. Because while I'm making jokes about how he's like secretly Chinese or whatever, there are people who unironically are constituents of the likes of Jim Jordan and whatnot who do believe that. Okay? I'm obviously joking about the stupidity of the Republican Party, but there are very valid concerns here. If you are not like immediately white presenting, you're going to have to give a whole backstory about how much you love American dick, how much you dick ride for imperialism, how much you would personally execute enemies of the state if you had the capacity to. Because if you don't do that, they're going to be like, what kind of Chinese are you, boy? And then continue along with that narrative. Now, Yeah, he's essentially he's explaining why he is an Asian man. That's what he's doing, which is unfortunately something you have to do. Okay? So that's the reason. It's boring, it's whatever. It's basically him explaining his bona fides, right? As a not white. Beyond that, he's also a Republican, so that's like extra funny that the Republicans are going to grill him now and be like, why did you let Biden off the hook? Like, are you in the pocket of big China, or are you in the pocket of big Joe Biden, or are you in the pocket of both at the same time? You know, I don't really believe convincingly that you haven't sufficiently shown me that you're not Asian. You know, these are going to be real concerns coming from the Republican Party. So that's where we're at. I'm going to skip through some of the stuff. He's like, yeah, I love this.
In other words, I needed to show my work, just as I would expect any prosecutor to show his or her work explaining the decision to prosecute or not. The need to show my work was especially strong here. The Attorney General had appointed me to investigate the actions of the Attorney General's boss, the sitting President of the United States. I knew that for my decision to be credible, I could not simply announce that I recommended no criminal charges and leave it at that. I needed to explain why. My report reflects my best effort to explain why.
It's also like an additionally funny thing that here's an extra funny moment for America and American perspectives, but like a lot of dudes don't fuck with China. A lot of Asian people who are not from China don't fuck with China at all, right? It is the same dynamic between like Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, and Cubans. They all fucking hate one another. But like in the eyes of the broader white population, no one makes that fucking distinction. No one's like, oh, you're Puerto Rican and you're not Cuban. That's very different. Like they don't. You're like, okay, what kind of Mexican are you? That's the opinion of the American white person, right? When they encounter someone. And the same goes for like people being like, I don't fuck with the Chinese, or I don't fuck with the Japanese, whatever, right? And obviously, like, nobody fucks with China in that area, which is really funny because when they come here, though, they're still Chinese, okay? In the eyes of the broader American public, they're fucking Chinese. You can talk about how much you hate the Chinese, how much you hate China, but you're still Chinese in the eyes of the white Americans. They will never understand the difference. Vietnamese, you're Chinese, different kind of Chinese, but you're still Chinese. You're Thai, also Chinese, okay? Indonesian, Muslim Chinese. They don't make this distinction. They literally, it's all Chinese. Just like you're all Mexican if you are brown, okay? So that's it. So if you're Asian, and in this chat, you probably don't have like a lot of xenophobic perspectives regardless, but Asian Americans that also play into like the anti-China sentiment don't realize that they're cooking themselves pretty fucking hard. What if I'm Filipino? Okay, Filipino, only category where you are both Mexican simultaneously and Chinese. Filipino, Pinoy gang is the epicenter of the global Latina belt. Indians, Arab, Muslim. Indians broadly get categorized as terrorists in the United States of America. That's like, war on terror, baby, which is, again, ironic, especially if you have parents, if you're Indian and you have parents that are like Modi supporters, okay? And you've like your parents will like sometimes play a role in the Islamophobic sentiment and then not realize that like you're also being harmed from said Islamophobic sentiment because Americans don't know what you are. Yeah. Remember, the first Islamophobic hate crime post 9/11 was against a Sikh man. This person was not a Muslim. He was Sikh. And, turns out racists don't make that distinction. They don't care. You're 100% right. There's this asshole streamer who always says how everyone's Turkish, generalizers, man. Someone in your comments on TikTok said, I need his Arab thighs, so you also get characterized that way. Yeah. Again, Americans not very good at understanding the nuances and complexities of different ethnicities. Obviously, unless you're like white, they know the difference between an Irish person and an English person and a German person, right? But they will never understand in the same way the difference between a Turkish person and like an Iranian person or someone from Syria, right? Like they just broadly categorize all of that as like, okay, Muslim guys, I think.
I declined to recommend charging President Biden. I analyzed the evidence as prosecutors routinely do by assessing its strengths and weaknesses, including by anticipating the ways in which the president's defense lawyers might poke holes in the government's case if there were a trial, and seek to persuade jurors that the government could not prove his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. There has been a lot of attention paid to language in the report about the president's memory, so let me say a few words about that. My task was to determine whether the president retained or disclosed national defense information willfully. That means knowingly and with the intent to do something the law forbids. I could not make that determination without assessing the president's state of mind. For that reason, I had to consider the president's memory and overall mental state and how a jury likely would perceive his memory and mental state in a criminal trial. These are the types of issues that prosecutors analyze every day. And because these issues were important to my ultimate decision, I had to include a discussion of them in my report to the Attorney General. The evidence and the president himself put his...
Same with the religion. When someone asks me where I'm from, I say Palestinian, and they're like, you're Muslim? Nothing wrong with that. And I say, no, I'm Christian. And they reply, there's Christians in the Middle East. Yeah, it is additionally funny because like the Palestinian Christians are literally like, that's it. That's the OG Christianity. That's where it began. Are you fucking serious? It's so funny that people are just like, people will be like, I'm Christian. Wait, what? You're fucking brown and you're Christian? It's like, dude, they invented it. What are you talking about? They literally invented Christianity. Hello. Those are like the OG. The fuck do you think Jesus was? Motherfuckers really think Jesus was white as hell, dude. It's crazy.
His memory squarely at issue. We interviewed the president and asked him about his recorded statement. Quote, I just found all the classified stuff downstairs, end quote. He told us that he didn't remember saying that to his ghostwriter. He also said he didn't remember finding any classified material in his home after his vice presidency. And he didn't remember anything about how classified documents about Afghanistan made their way into his garage. My assessment in the report about the relevance of the president's memory was necessary and accurate and fair. Most importantly, what I wrote is what I believe the evidence shows and what I expect jurors would perceive and believe. I did not sanitize my explanation, nor did I disparage the president unfairly. I explained to the Attorney General my decision and the reasons for it. That's what I was required to do. I took the same approach when I compared the evidence regarding President Biden to the department's allegations against former President Trump. There, too, I called it like I saw it. As a prosecutor, I had to consider relevant precedents and to explain why different facts justify different outcomes. That is what I did in my report. I'm confident the analysis set forth in chapters 11, 12, and 13 of my report provides a thorough evaluation and explanation of the evidence, and I encourage everyone to read it to inform.
Boring. All right, here are some highlights, I guess, from it before we get to Ben Shapiro saying no one should ever retire. First, Jim Jordan just roughly showed roughly 10 minutes of a video of Biden talking for reasons that escape me, and Nader dinged him on it immediately. Lol. Okay, come on, Aaron. You know why he showed it. He showed it to be like, why is this interview happening? Let's ask ourselves. Is it because conservatives are really interested in the truth about Biden's mental faculties? No. No, it's because they want to be like, look how old Biden is. It is the same principle behind how beneficial it is for the Biden camp for Trump to constantly be in legal trouble. It plays into the meta. The meta is, as it stands, Biden is old and he's demented. The meta on the Trump side is, as it stands, Trump is a criminal and a threat to democracy. So both sides are going to be pushing that note as hard as they possibly can if they want to fucking win. And the Republicans love doing this shit. They love utilizing the congressional power that they have They love utilizing the congressional power that they have for like all this bullshit, okay? The classic fucking small government conservatives that always are penny pinching and wanting to do austerity for the fucking working poor that spend millions and millions of dollars investigating nonsensical shit that benefits them politically. Kevin McCarthy very famously said that the Benghazi trials, which literally lasted a longer time than 9/11 trials. Remember, Benghazi as a trial was longer and more expensive than the fucking 9/11 Commission. Kevin McCarthy very shamelessly and very openly once said, nobody was talking about Benghazi, and now everybody can't stop saying Benghazi. We did that shit. Openly, he said that. Okay? So it's not like they hide it. You know what I mean? They do it on purpose. And that's precisely what's going on here. It's political theater. Now, is Biden old? Yes. Is Biden old? Abso-fucking-lutely. Okay? Is he senile? Definitely.
Thank you, everybody. We're going to need everybody to hold for a moment.
Chair now recognizes the ranking member, Mr. Nadler, for an opening statement.
Mr. Chairman, I'm glad you have such information, such admiration for the president that you allowed him to take the first 10 minutes of this hearing.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Nadler starts off, House representatives may be desperate to convince America that the white conservative men are on the losing end of a two-tier justice system, a theory that appeals to the MAGA crowd but has no basis in reality.
House Republicans may be desperate to convince America that white conservative men are on the losing end of a two-tier justice system, a theory that appeals to the MAGA crowd but has no basis in reality. But your comments today make me wonder if you have read the special counsel's report at all. Her report does help us draw a distinction between President Biden and Donald Trump, just not the one.
Conservatives hate gays but love theater. Yeah, that's why they hate gays, because the gays slay in the theater front and they want to dominate theater. That's why. It's resentment that they do not have the natural skills that the gays have. They're jealous.
You want two distinctions, actually. First, the report is clear that, quote, at no point did the special counsel find evidence that Mr. Biden intended or had reason to believe the information would be used to injure the United States or to benefit a foreign nation, close quote. With respect to the classified documents found in President Biden's possession, quote, the decision to...
So that's the real reason they got rid of Santos? Yeah, because he was too good. He was too good. He was too good at, he had the natural talent for it.
Decline criminal charges was straightforward, close quote. And with respect to the special counsel's investigation, quote, Mr. Biden turned in classified documents to the National Archives and the Department of Justice, consented to the search of multiple locations, including his homes.
Nadler put a brutal supercut of Trump gaffing and shorting out. Oh, God. I hate all of this. Raskin, what America sees today is evidence of one president who believes in the rule of law and works to protect it, and one who has nothing but contempt for the rule of law and acts solely in pursuit of his own. This stuff is so boring, dude. Okay, I'm gonna skip this. I'm gonna skip the story. It's just like, who gives a shit? Wait, what was this one? Yeah, I'm skipping. I'm skipping this part. Trump is so real for this. Oh yeah, Trump has been popping off on the TikTok ban and is like surprisingly correct on it. Mr. Read the Room over here. There are a lot of young kids on TikTok who will go crazy without it. The thing I don't like is that without TikTok, you can make Facebook bigger, and I consider Facebook to be an enemy of the people, which is weird. Why does he fucking hate Facebook so much? I mean, he's not wrong, but like Facebook is so goddamn. He tried to ban TikTok originally. But like Facebook literally has probably more conservatives on it. Anyway, I don't know. Because he has stock in Truth Social. How did Biden maneuver himself into an L on the TikTok issue? I used to be very much in favor of banning TikTok last year or, a couple years back when Trump was saying he wanted to ban it. And now, while I do understand that TikTok is responsible for so much fucking brain rot, while I do understand TikTok is responsible for so much brain rot, is like genuinely making people dumber. I also do think that the only reason why I also have recognized that the only reason why they want to ban TikTok is because they do not have the same level of control over TikTok as they do over the other social media platforms. And if you want to ban these social media platforms, I think across the board, instead of banning social media platforms, you should regulate said social media platforms. And the major reason why they're really, really, really aggro about TikTok is that it's because it is one of the few places where there is a shit ton, in my opinion, a shit ton of pro-Palestinian messaging, more so than any other platform. Twitter has a lot of pro-Palestinian messages as well, but, you know, it's lost in a sea, I would say, of pro-Nazi messaging. So, and it's also owned by Elon Musk, so they see that as like controllable. What about TikTok's Chinese affiliations? I don't give a shit, dude. What? Like this is not like this is not a take. You know what I mean? It's just like this take is only this take only works if you're like, okay, well, I'm scared of the Chinese.
Recognize the gentleman from Florida. 5 minutes.
February 8th, the White House. Question, Mr. President, why did you share classified information with your ghostwriter? The President, I did not share classified information. I did not share it. I guarantee I did not. That's not true, is it, Mr. Hur?
That is inconsistent with the findings based on the evidence in my report.
Yeah, so it's a lie, is just what regular people would say, right? Yeah, all right. So the next one. And all the stuff that was in my home.
If I'm Matt Gaetz, I'm not grilling a fucking prosecutor that hard. If I got that many fucking skeletons in my closet and there's an ongoing ethics investigation into my misconduct, maybe I'm not going after the fucking prosecutors that hard. I'm just saying. Maybe I'm trying to play nice, okay? If I got Venmo receipts to like a 17-year-old girl being like, oh, this is for travel, I'm probably not, me personally, I'm probably not going after prosecutors this aggressively. Just saying, because he's probably got some other homies that may be investigating you soon. You know what I mean? Prosecutors know one another.
Was in filing cabinets that were either locked or able to be locked. That wasn't true either, was it?
That was inconsistent with the findings of our investigation.
Another lie, people might say, right? Because what you put in your report was among the places Mr. Biden's lawyers found classified documents in the garage was a damaged open.
Why has he got a Yakuza pin? Oh my God, it does look like a Yakuza pin. That's funny.
Box. So here's what I'm understanding, right?
I gotta pee.
As Mr. Armstrong laid out, you find in your report that the elements of a federal criminal violation are met. But then you apply this senile cooperator theory that because Joe Biden cooperated and the elevator doesn't go to the top floor, you don't think you get a conviction. And I actually think you get to the right answer in that. I don't think Biden should have been charged. Don't think Trump should have been charged. But under like the senile cooperator theory, isn't it frustrating that Biden continues to go out and lie about the basic facts of the report that lay out a federal criminal violation?
Congressman, I need to disagree with at least one thing that you said, which is that I found that all of the elements were met. One of the elements of the relevant mishandling statute is the intent element, and what my report reflects is my judgment that based on the evidence, I would not be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt to a jury that that intent element had been met.
Right, but the reason you have that doubt is the senile cooperator theory. The fact that Joe Biden is so inept in responding that you can't prove the intent, which again, I don't quibble with that conclusion, but it's frustrating to be like, oh, well, this guy's not getting treated the same way as Trump because the elevator's not going to the top floor, so we can't prove intent. While at the same time, Biden goes out there at the White House and says, well, you know, he just blatantly lies. And what I'm trying to figure out is whether or not Biden's lying because he's still so senile, he hasn't read your report, or whether it's a little craftier and a little more devious and perhaps a little more intentional than we might otherwise think. So I also want to go to this Biden Penn Center. Like, did it give concern to you that the Biden Penn Center, where all this classified stuff was being mishandled, was being floated by foreign governments?
Congressman, we were concerned with getting to the bottom of all of the classified documents that were recovered during the course of our...
Yeah, but what bothers me is that the money that was paying for the place where the documents were being inappropriately held, it was the Chinese and it was other foreign countries. Did that play into your analysis? Did you look into the $1 billion in foreign funding sources at the Biden Center at UPenn, for example?
Congressman, we conducted a thorough, impartial, and fair investigation, and we were very, very concerned with getting to the bottom of all the relevant questions relating to the recovered documents.
Sir, did you look into the fact that the Chinese were floating the place where this guy was keeping the documents unsecure? Yes or no?
Congressman, to the extent that we identified evidence that was relevant and significant to our investigation, we put it in our report.
Okay, well, it seemed relevant to me, maybe not to you.
Yeah, because what kind of Chinese are you, boy, is literally the underlying theme. Dude, come on. Come on, dude. Yeah, I don't know. You're looking real Chinese right now.
Another thing that seemed relevant to me is this ghostwriter, right? So the ghostwriter purposefully deletes this evidence that seems to be like show culpability of Biden's crimes, and you don't charge him. Why did you not charge the ghostwriter with obstructing justice and deleting evidence?
Well, for a number of reasons that are laid out in the report, but in brief, Congressman, yes, when we interviewed the ghostwriter, he did.
It's so fucking weird watching people try to maintain the professional veneer of their job. Having to talk to Republicans who are like, true or false, Joe Biden is a pedophile who sucks adrenochrome directly from the brain stems of immigrant babies. Yeah. I mean, this is the most professional way that you can make this assertion too. It's literally like, it's literally like, yes, have you investigated the criminal misconduct of the Chinese Communist Party secretly storing Biden's classified documents at UPenn? Like, you just made that up, okay? You are trying to tie normal things that exist in the real world back into something that is like indecent and scary. What can you explain your title? What do you mean? What is my title? Adin Ross lands Andrew Tate in jail. Lamau, Haitian Prime Minister resigns. Biden, her interviewer over age. Her interview over age. What do you? Second day of Ramadan. What's the fuck?
Tell us, and I'm trying to get the exact language,
that
one of the things on his mind, one of the things he was aware of, was that I had been appointed special counsel and was conducting an investigation.
Right, so he didn't, just so everybody knows, the ghostwriter didn't delete the recordings just as a matter of happenstance. Ghostwriter has recordings of Biden making admissions of crimes. He then learns that you've been appointed. He then deletes the information that is the evidence, and you don't charge him.
That is reflected in the report, and one of the reasons...
Like, what does somebody have to do to get charged with obstruction of justice by you? If like deleting the evidence of crimes doesn't count, what would meet this?
I might be getting lost in the right-wing framing of this, but that part does seem a little odd to me. Like, I don't personally know why they wouldn't look into the fucking interviewer like deleting records. You know what I mean? That part is definitely
standard.
So, Congressman, as we state in the relevant chapter of the report, one of the things that Mr. Zwanitzer did not delete was transcripts of the recordings that he had created that included inculpatory evidence relating to Mr. Biden.
Oh, never mind. He also he literally still had the transcripts.
Oh,
okay.
so if you destroy some evidence but not other evidence, that somehow absolves you of the...
No, dude, he has the transcripts. He probably didn't want what? The transcripts are all there. Okay, never mind. He very quickly clarified it for me. Now I understand. It's the same evidence.
The evidence you destroy. Here's what I see. Zwanniger should have been charged, wasn't. Biden and Trump should have been treated equally. They weren't. And that is the double standard that I think a lot of Americans are concerned about. I see my time's expired. I yield back.
I'm Steve Doocy.
Yeah, it seems like he
Chair
didn't.
now recognizes
It seems like the evidence still very much is there.
the gentleman.
Watch, Representative Schiff has testy exchange with Robert Hur over Biden classified documents.
From California
said that you did not disparage the president in your report.
It's so funny because he's getting shellacked from both sides too. Because Shifty Schiff, more like Adam shit, am I right? is going to rip into him because he's going to say you called Biden old and that's not within your purview, to which he responds with, no, it is. I have to give, as a third-party investigator, a decent reason as to why I am dropping the case and not further prosecuting him, because I don't think that this is prosecutable. And this is one of the assessments that I made. And then he's going to say, couldn't you have made that assessment without fucking saying he's old, blah, 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 blah.
But of course, you did disparage the president. You disparaged him in terms you had to know would have a maximal political impact. You understood your report would be public, right?
I understood, based on comments that the Attorney General had made, that he had committed to make as much of my report public as consistent with legal policy and legal.
You think the fact that he's senile is a good reason not to prosecute him? It's not just this fact that he's senile. He's not saying that Biden is senile. He's saying that Biden reads in front of a jury as an old guy with a kind heart. Okay? And that his misremembering of key details of his own life plays a role in putting together a case that would definitely make him look like he had honest intentions. That's it. It's his assessment that ultimately, if this was to be tried in a court of law in front of a fucking jury of his peers, the jury would look at him and go, yeah, this guy's like, he wasn't deliberately, voluntarily keeping classified documents away, keeping classified documents for illicit purposes, and simply is an old grandpa, partially because he cooperated with the authorities immediately, and also partially because he is, like, look, he's just literally misremembering key details of his life. He's like old. His heart is in the right place, but he's old. That's what he's saying. He's not able to handle questioning, but he runs the country. Guys, I totally am in agreement with you. I think that Biden is too old. Okay?
Requirements.
And you could have chosen just to comment on the president's particular recall vis-a-vis a document or a set of documents, but you decided to go further and make a generalized statement about his memory, didn't you?
Congressman, I could have written my report theoretically in a way that omitted references to the president's memory, but that would have been an incomplete and improper report, and that it did not reflect my analysis.
You could have
the explanation of my decision.
You could have written your report with comments about his specific recollection as to documents or a set of documents, but you chose a general pejorative reference to the president. You understood when you made that decision, didn't you, Mr. Herr, that you would ignite a political firestorm with that language, didn't you?
Congressman, politics played no part whatsoever in my investigative steps.
But you understood nevertheless, didn't you, Mr. Herr?
This is so dumb. You're like mad at him for dropping the fucking case then. Like, so should he have kept going? Like, because like this is such a classic catch-22 where you're mad at him, but like you're mad at him for the reasons as to why he dropped the case, but not mad at him for dropping the case in general. You can't have it fucking both ways. You know what I mean? Republicans are really good at double binds. This man is not a Republican. He's a Democrat. The person he is actually cooking here is a Republican. He's mad because he took a shot at him when he didn't need to. He was giving red meat to the hogs, was he not? I think he is a classic middle-of-the-ground Republican prosecutor, okay? These guys care about the rule of law more than anything else. He's very similar to Robert Mueller in that regard. And ultimately, that's all he did. He did the middle of the ground, gave his honest assessment. I don't think he was like indecently and secretly in the pocket of the big Republican Party. I don't think that at all. If he was, then he would have said Biden is demented and we're going to continue with this prosecution. Hello? He's not wrong to make this assessment. Guys, not only is he not wrong to make this assessment, his track record, as we looked at on the show before, implies that he is like the classic fucking Republican prosecutor who cares about the institutions. Okay? Like, I think it's crazy that the Democrats are still getting mad on top of this, on top of everything else, being like, why did you mention that he was old? I think it's understandable to mention that he is old because of how it would read to a jury, because it's a part of the argument that he's making, because as a special prosecutor, he has to make an argument as to why his assessment is that there should be no further, like, this shouldn't go to court. Okay?
Mr. Hur, you cannot.
Is Fossabot posting correct links? It's asking people to support ongoing BLM protests across the country. Wait, what? What the fuck? Please consider donating to support the BLM protests nationwide. Hello? What is happening with the fucking Fossabot? It's always done that? Wait, what? Why? We should maybe eat that link. It's been doing that since 2020, bro. I didn't realize. You've had that up for years. I think you just never turn it off. Yeah. We should maybe turn that off. Because we're anti-BLM now, boys. Let's go. It paints a picture that Biden maybe did intentionally keep documents initially, but he's too old at this point to prove that original intention.
Not tell me you're so naive as to think your words would not have created a political firestorm. You understood that, didn't you, when you wrote those words, when you decided to include those words, when you decided to go beyond specific references to documents? You understood how they would be manipulated by my colleagues here on the GOP side of the aisle and by President Trump. You understood that, did you not?
Congressman, what I understood is the regulations that govern my conduct as special counsel.
And those regulations
required me to write a confidential report for the Attorney General,
which you knew would not be
explaining my
confidential.
decision, and that is what I did, Congressman. I followed the rules.
You knew it would not be
I
confidential.
followed them.
You knew it would not be confidential, didn't you?
Sir, the regulations required me to write a confidential report explaining my decision to the Attorney General,
which you knew would be released.
It was up to the Attorney General to determine
you understood it would be released, did you not?
Would be released consistent with DOJ policy.
You understood it would be released. You understood it would be released.
Like, what's the argument here? What's the argument here? That at the top of the hour there isn't a 3-minute ad break? Like, is that what the argument is? Because there is one. Okay? Whether you like it or not, there is a 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. Now, of course, you can avoid those ads by subscribing for $5 or for free with the Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, where you will get one free Prime subscription a month. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Holy fuck, there's some big news. 2 news from Israel, Palestine that I will be talking about in a brief moment. Anyway, as I was saying, Bill Laser, thank you for the 5 get the subs, allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. That's another way that you can avoid the top of the hour ad break. Here's a 3-minute ad break now. Isn't his decision better for the Republicans because it's a lose-lose for Biden and gives their 2-tier justice system narrative legs? Dude, I don't think this guy is like secretly working. My point was, I do not think that this guy is secretly thinking like, ooh, how can I suit the needs of the Republican Party? The fact that Hur's background suggests that he is cognizant of not appearing impartial tells me that his report is intentionally written to be this controversial but appear unbiased. I think he wanted to show, like, really hammer on the point that he is an unbiased, impartial arbiter. And that's the reason why he wrote the report in the way that he did. He both sidesed it, yes. And the Democrats are mad that he both sidesed it too hard. And I feel like it makes sense for him to both sides it the way that he did. I don't think that he is like secretly in the pocket of the Republican Party. Just like, and I will say this as well, James Comey was not, in my opinion, legitimately secretly operating at the behest of the Republican Party when he came out literally right before the election, all the way back in 2016, with the second investigation. These guys are aggressively centrist. Okay? They want to dispel the rumors or the notion that there's any kind of partisanship at play. So in that situation, in my opinion, they cook it a little bit too hard. I don't know, really skeptical of his assessment that Biden was too old to have intent. I mean, Biden may not be all there, but he's at least 90% there. I think that much is clear now after Soto. Damn, that State of the Union really did a number on liberal brains, I think. Is it possible to re-roll for new candidates after the election? Yes. You can re-roll if they die.
Understood from the Attorney General's public comments that he would make as much of my report public as he could, consistent with legal requirements and DOJ
And you also understand DOJ policy that you are to take care not to prejudice the interests of the subject of an investigation, right?
That is generally one of the interests that DOJ policy.
You could argue that his opinion was predetermined. More important was the influence on the public throughout his use of language senile regarding Biden. I think that legal documents should be sterile and neutral in stating facts. Senile is not that. Yes, dude, he's making a biased assessment based on the evidence presented. He is not a fucking licensed medical professional. This is not a court. In a court of law, you would bring a licensed medical professional to make that assessment. Okay? But if you are the prosecutor, you can make that assessment on your own when you are dealing with the outcomes of a prosecution. If you take this to court, how it will read by the jury is an assessment that you will definitely make, especially when you are an outside third-party investigator that was contracted by Biden's DOJ. This, in my opinion, like the reason why he said that in his report is because, well, one, Biden is very old, okay? And he will read very old to a jury. That is true. And also because, like, he is supposed to be, there's a reason why he's a Republican guy, okay? There's a reason why Merrick Garland brought him as the third-party investigator, because he's a fucking Republican. If you're going to drop a case of mishandling classified documents, you have to make sure that you rid, at least in the public's eye, you rid yourself of any kind of potential biases at play. Yeah. And if you think that the American public thought that Biden is senile because of this report, you're crazy. They definitely already thought that. Thank you, Short Gamer Moth. You're absolutely correct. The American public already thought this. It's not like he's like creating a ground for like Americans to be like, wow, this is the first time I thought Biden is senile because of the fucking Her report. Is crazy.
Policy requires that prosecutors respect.
And it was your obligation to follow that policy in this report, was it not?
It was also my obligation to write a confidential report for the Attorney General explaining completely my decision.
What you did write was deeply prejudicial to the interests of the president. You say it wasn't political, and yet you must have understood. You must have understood the impact of your words. You must have understood the impact of your decision to go beyond the specifics of a particular document, to go to the very general, to your own personal, prejudicial, subjective opinion of the president, one you knew would be amplified by his political opponent, one you knew that would influence a political campaign. You had to understand that. And you.
It's so funny that they're butthurt about him saying Biden is senile, because, like, it is the one thing that every American agrees with, including fucking people that are going to vote for Biden. Hello? Like, what are we talking about here? He might as well have written that the fucking the sky is blue in the report. It's like getting mad at that.
You did it anyway. You did it anyway. And let me just go to some of the differences here between the president's conduct and Mr. Trump's. In the superseding indictment, on page 3, it says that Mr. Trump suggested that his attorney falsely represent to the FBI and grand jury that he did not have documents called for by the grand jury subpoena. You didn't find anything like that with respect to Mr. Biden, did you?
Congressman, I do not have the Trump indictment in front of me, but I need to address something that you said in your prior question. What you are suggesting is that I needed to provide a different version of my report that would be fit for public release. That is nowhere in the rules. I was to prepare a confidential report that was comprehensive and thorough of an explanation.
What is in the rules, Mr. Herr, what is in the rules is You don't gratuitously do things to prejudice the subject of an investigation when you're declining to prosecute. You don't gratuitously add language that you know will be useful in a political campaign. You were not born yesterday. You understood exactly what you were doing. It was a choice. You certainly didn't have to include that language. You could have said, vis-a-vis the documents that were found at the university, the president did not recall. There is nothing more common. You know this. I know this. There is nothing more common with a witness of any age when asked about events that are years old to say, I do not recall. Indeed, they're instructed by their attorney to do that if they have any question about it. You understood that. You made a choice.
Now he's saying that Biden's saying, I do not recall, for like key details of his life, is actually a part of a technique that the defense uses in this situation. Yeah, you say that about entirely different shit that would get you in trouble. You don't say that about like you don't say that about things that are just like basically what you would have in like a lie detector test that creates a basis for what is truthful. Okay? Which is, you know, questions about like questions about your family or whatever. Also, he used I do not recall against the defendant. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Majority Report went over this and saw that Biden didn't necessarily misremember when his son died, so I don't know about the narrative. But wouldn't just putting that in a report subject didn't remember make the report useless? But I think the message holds. The answer Biden gave are same, if not similar to Trump's, yet Trump wasn't considered senile. Wait, what? The reason why, if Biden and Donald Trump answer in the same way in a deposition, the reason why Biden reads a different way is because of the things that came after. Trump voluntarily, willingly lied to his own lawyers, lied to everyone, including the investigators, about where the documents were, and voluntarily withheld additional documents after multiple inquiries. Obviously, his I do not recall moments don't matter all that much in the eyes of a jury in that circumstance when you're comparing Brandon's I do not recall with the motivations that Brandon very clearly had once the investigation was launched. Biden cooperated with the authorities completely. Trump didn't. So obviously, that plays a higher order of magnitude in the way that in the way that a court case would continue than a guy who did cooperate. That's a major difference. I think that's like basically I think that's what basically plays a big role. Can't make it up. Experts say transcript shows special counsel Robert Hur lied about Biden. The full transcript undercuts Hur's argument that Biden could not remember his son's death and had poor memory. The full transcript of President Joe Biden's 5-hour interview with special counsel Robert Hur's investigators paints a more nuanced portrait of Biden's memory than the special counsel's report, according to the Washington Post, which noted that Biden doesn't come across as being absent-minded as Hur made him out to be. I think the funniest thing that could come out of this, is that, like, they have to follow. They launch another investigation, okay, with another special prosecutor, and they find that there was misconduct, and Hur was actually covering Brandon by saying he's senile, only to have an even more reactionary prosecutor come in, and basically this time they're like, no, we have to go to court because he's very much mentally sane. Anyway, read full transcript of Robert Hur's classified Biden documents interview. Oh, come on, give me the highlights. I'd rather read the fucking high notes. The transcript could raise questions about Hur's depiction of the 81-year-old president having significant limitations on his memory. Hur in his report declined to charge Biden, arguing that it'd be difficult to convince a jury to convict with a memory that the special counsel described as faulty and poor, noting that Biden could not recall when his son Beau died or when he served as vice president. But Biden said exactly when his son died on the interview. What month did Beau die? Oh, God, May 30, Biden said. When two others in the room chimed in with the year, Biden asked, was it 2015 when he died? Hur soon suggested taking a brief break, an offer Biden rejected before launching into a long explanation of Bo's death. Let me just keep going to get it done, Biden said. Okay, so he didn't actually remember it. Like, he didn't remember the exact date. So what? Like, his assessment is that he couldn't remember it, and the transcript makes it seem like he actually did 100% remember it. He just couldn't remember the year, and then someone chimed in with the year. Which is normal. That's not, like, that crazy. It doesn't show, like, complete senility. But I could see someone who's trying to move to not prosecute Biden saying that this will read in a court of law as someone who is not great on his recollection. A part that many people don't understand, for the record. And here it is, by the way. So what was happening? What month did Bo die? Oh, God, May 30th. Miss Cotton chimes in, 2015. Unidentified male speaker says 2015. President Biden says, was it 2015 he had died? Unidentified male speaker says it was May of 2015. President Biden, it was 2015. This is why it's a double bind that Democrats are actually cooking themselves over. Because you support Israel. What? Where'd you get that from? That's awesome. Some of the first timers are great. New crime for later. Only 32 minutes. Very crazy. YouTuber falls in love with an obsessed fan, instantly regrets it. Oh my God. I love that. He's right about you supporting Israel today. You opened with a DJ set today. Okay, not every version of techno music is supporting Israel. Guys, if you look at the transcript, I get why he said what he said. Alex Thompson writes, he's a national political correspondent at Axios. He wrote, Biden repeatedly asked for help remembering important dates with lawyers stepping in. When did I announce for president in 2019? If it was 2013, when did I stop being vice president? In 2019, am I still vice president? Trump gets elected on November of 2017. Now, I'm not great at fucking dates like this as well, okay? The difference is, if you are interested, for the record, if you are personally interested in presenting a narrative that Biden would read as old, his heart in the right place, which is something that many people are forgetting in his assessment. If people are if you want to make it seem like someone is old, but his heart is in the fucking right place, obviously, this is what you say. Oh. Twice on the same day, Biden struggled to find the words for fax machine. You see where there's a printer and there's a, what do they call it? The machine that he asked until White House counsel Ed Siskel offered up, fax machine in both instances. While talking about the years 2017 and 2018, Biden said, remember, in this time frame, my son is either been deployed or is dying, and adds, and so what was happening, though? What month did Bo die? Oh, God, May 30, before White House counsel offered that it was in 2015. Why is articles coming from salon.com clip chimping the transcripts to make it seem like he was totally fucking cognizant when the question being presented was about 2017 to 2018, long after his son had died? I genuinely don't understand why people are just like so desperate to run with the fucking narrative that Biden is like totally cognizant, and it is ridiculous for the special prosecutor to make this assessment that clears Biden, that literally drops the case. You're cooking yourself. What you have to understand is Biden is a Schrodinger's brain. It is at all times either immaculate or in shambles, depending on what helps the DNC. The transcript also appears to shine a light on Hur's claim that Biden could not remember when he served as vice president. My problem was I never knew where any of the documents or boxes were specifically coming from or who packed them, he said. Just did I get them delivered to me? And so this is, I'm at this stage in 2009. Am I still vice president? Biden sought to clarify his answer, but one of Hur's deputies pushed to move on. During another point, Hur pointed to an image of a notebook related to Afghanistan. The date is 4/20/09, Biden said. Was I still vice president? I was, wasn't I? Yeah. Hur, in his testimony before the House Judiciary Committee on Tuesday, denied that he disparaged the president unfairly and claimed that the evidence and the president the president himself put his memory squarely at issue. National Security Attorney Bradley Moss predicted that Democrats are going to eat Hur alive at this hearing. I think Biden might be owed an apology, tweeted Zach reporter Zach Beauchamp. Politico's Kyle Cheney. Dude, Democrats love looking at a gift horse in the mouth and then slapping the horse in the fucking mouth. Okay? This is a gift. Just take it. It's so insane. I don't know. I just don't understand it. In which President Biden jokes with federal prosecutors about the thorough search of his home in Wilmington. I just hope you didn't find any risque pictures of my wife in a bathing suit, which you probably did. She's beautiful. That's funny. Bro, my grandma died like a year ago. I don't know what month or day it was. I loved her to death. Pardon me if I was too busy grieving to make notes. This is so stupid. Brother, you need to understand something. Or sister, listen to me. Okay? Everyone has a hard time remembering key dates. I also do as well. It makes sense. Okay? This is not what is in question here. The problem is when you are talking about like parts of your life, let's say you were no longer in office, okay? And they're asking you a question about like a time frame that is 2 years after your grandma died. You would know that your grandma's not dead at that point. This is not about recalling exactly the date that your grandmother died. It's about thinking that your grandmother is alive 3 years after the fact. Do you get it? Context is important here because the question is being presented about his experiences in 2017 and 2018 where he thinks his son is still alive and being deployed, where his son has died 3 years ago at that point. Do you get it? And not only that, but the key thing that people are forgetting here is that his assessment is how this will read to a jury. Obviously, in his line of questioning, Biden is having a hard time consistently remembering key dates in his life. Okay? That will present in an identical fashion in a court of law to a jury that will see that line of questioning and Biden's like failure to answer key dates and key details of his life. That's what he is saying. He's saying that the jury will read him as senile but kind-hearted. His heart's in the right place, but you know, a little bit of senility goes a long way in presenting him as an old man who is seen in a sympathetic light. Okay? So the irony here is that like a key part of Her's assessment that clears him of impartiality in dropping this fucking case is what Democrats are cooking him on. Do you understand the issue at play here? Now, the media can look at this transcript and like rob it of the context. And they can do that. And they are doing that, it seems, right? To be like, no, Brandon is actually dynamic. He's actually super with it. Look at the State of the Union. You know, he was dynamic there. Clearly, that's not an old man who is senile. Remember that? That was really sick. It's, he just didn't remember key details. Don't look at the context of the key details of what he like forgot. Neither Trump nor anyone in his family can recall a single thing in any of their depositions either. Yes. The difference there, however, is that Trump's lack of recollection will not read as someone who is a sympathetic figure who is just simply forgetting things. Because Trump very openly refused to cooperate with investigators. Biden did cooperate with investigators. This is a key context. This is what is the reason why one case sticks and the other doesn't. Do you guys understand this? While talking about the years 2017 and 2018, Biden said, remember in this time frame, my son has either been deployed or is dying, and adds, and so what was happening though? What month did Beau die? Oh God, May 30th, before the White House counsel offered that it was 2015. Guys, I want to remind everybody that you did not fall out of a coconut tree. Okay? You did not. You exist within the context of all the things that came before you. Okay? Just remember that. Context is important. The two-day interview took place in the immediate aftermath of October 7 Hamas attack on Israel. Biden's team has also noted He had excellent recall in several other parts of the interview and argued that the missteps were exaggerated and cherry-picked. The two fax machine exchanges with the White House, where the White House counsel Ed Siskel stepped in. And they open on the bottom too. So there's the top opens the shelving and the bottom opens the filling. So the bottom, so when you open this up, the first door on the first door there on the left, you see where there's a printer and there's a, what do they call it? The machine that fax machine, a fax machine. Yes, sir. And then the thing below, I don't use it anymore. I never use but all kidding aside, I have a library and the library has two filing cabinets in it, and it has a built into the walls. And when I built that home, built into the walls, a space for a copy machine, for a, what do you call it when they send these? Fax machine. Fax machine. I have shelves that I have binders like this in it, and that I put together that aren't classified. They're about speeches that I made on this matter, speeches I made on that matter. So during this time, when you were living at Chainbridge Road and there were documents relating to the Penn Biden Center or the Biden Institute or the Cancer Moonshot or your book, where did you keep papers that related to those things that you were actively working on? Well, I don't know. This is what, 2017, 2018, that area? Yes, sir. Remember, in this time frame, my son is either been deployed or is dying. And so it was. And by the way, there were still a lot of people at that time when I got out of the Senate that were encouraging me to run in this period, except the president. I'm not, and not a mean thing to say. He just thought that she had a better shot of winning the presidency than I did. And so I hadn't at this point, even though I'm at Penn, I hadn't walked away from the idea that I may run for office again. But if I had ran again, I'd be running for president. And so what was happening, though? What month did Bo die? Oh, God, May 30th. Miss Cotton steps in and says 2015. An identified male speaker steps in and says 2015. President Biden, was it 2015 he had died? Remember, the time frame that they're talking about is 2017 and 2018. Okay, this is after Obama has told him not to run for president, which he revealed here, by the way, which is kind of cool that he openly mentions that. Very, very vindictive person that doesn't let go of certain things. That's another key detail here. Mr. Bauer, or I'm not sure the month, sir, but I think it was that year. Mr. Kirkbaum, that's right, Mr. President. And what's happened in the meantime, it was that, and Trump gets elected in November of 2017, unidentified male speaker, 2016, unidentified male 16. President Biden, 2016. All right. So why do I have 2017 here? That's when you left office, January of 2017. Yeah, okay. But that's when Trump gets sworn in then, January. So I think when you look at the full context, I think it's a bit of a stretch for Salon and all these other articles to be written to make it seem like, no, he totally remembered everything. It's not necessarily that he remembers the month, which he clearly does. It's that he's fucking up the time frame where he thinks that his son is alive in 2017, 2018. Because, like, he was trying to say that he was still in, he was still in a tumultuous situation with his son. And that's, like, partially why he, doesn't recall the documents. But his son his son was nowhere near. He was dead for 2 years at this point. Do you understand? Hers claim that Biden couldn't remember the day his son died was an outrageous lie, argued Tommy Vitor, a former Obama staffer and commentator. It's also cruel and irrelevant. Anyone who's experienced and loss like that can remember images, smells, bit of conversations. The pain is burned into you. Dates blend together because they're irrelevant. Attorney Andrew Loeffler tweeted, her lied. That's the only appropriate response. White House spokesman Ian Sams told CNN on Tuesday that Hur's opening statement to the committee was also misleading. I think it lays bare pretty clearly that the results of this 15-month investigation that was led by a Trump appointee prosecutor who was named special counsel by Brandon's own DOJ, by Merrick Garland, by the way. Hello? I found that there was no case here, he said. I think that some of those language that you just laid out is a little bit misleading. In fact, later in the report, 200 pages in, not on page 2, but 200 pages in, he says very clearly that the evidence does not fully support the idea that he willfully retained classified documents. That was literally also in his assessment. It's very frustrating. That was also a part of Hur's assessment. I don't know why people are making it seem like this dude simply was just saying Biden's old, lol. Like, that's not what he was saying. He's saying Biden will read as old in the same line of questioning that we engaged in the conversation that we had, in the investigation that we concluded. The same line of questioning will happen in front of a court of law, in front of a jury, and the jury will see him as like, because he did not willfully retain the documents, you can present an argument that he just like doesn't remember. And that's why there is not a real good court case here. This discussion is so dumb and liberal. Yeah, it's very, very, very dumb and very, very, very liberal. Anyway, urgent aid en route to Gaza amid severe
the latest
food crisis.
From Gaza, where the UN
We're going to
says
talk about
hundreds
Gaza.
Of thousands
we'll
of
talk
people
about updates on Andrew Tate, because he also apparently gave a speech after he was released from jail. And we'll cover that as well. I read what you just read and got something different, man. Bo died in 2015. People encouraged him to run in 2015. He correctly equates the two events in his statement. Yes, but he is using that as an answer for questions that pertain to his experiences and knowledge and actions in 2017 and 2018. That is the problem. Yes, you're right. If they were talking about 2015, oh my God, if they were talking about 2015, then you'd be right. But they're not talking about 2015. They're talking about 2017 and 2018. That is the issue here. That is the context that is important for people to understand in the transcripts. The further context that people need to understand in these transcripts is that your recollection might also be bad. Mine certainly is. Okay? It is. That's why I think a lot of people are like, well, I can't remember those dates either. I get it. I'm the same way. I'm exactly the same way. I think it's an ADHD thing. Okay? However, the way that reads to a jury is what caused her to make this assessment, put it in the fucking report to signal impartiality, and simultaneously say, this is why we're dropping it. Because if he simply just said, Biden very clearly has mental fortitude, demonstrated mental fortitude, but simply forgot that he had these documents, that's not enough for him to fucking drop the case. Because then Republicans are going to be like, what the fuck? You're dropping this fucking case, but you're saying he voluntarily and willingly withheld classified documents? Do you not understand this? This is the point that I'm trying to make here. If he went about it in the ways that liberals wanted him to go about it, it would it would destroy impartiality. It would just completely throw it out the door. So that's why I'm saying I think Democrats are yelling while looking at a fucking gift horse in the mouth. They're yelling about the gift horse's mouth, okay? And they're smacking the horse now. And the guy who gave you the horse. Very odd situation, but I guess they have to do that because what's done is done anyway, and now they're trying to get their licks in to overcome the narrative that Biden is old. Now, none of that really matters. You can only show that Biden is not old, and they've done a decent job at it so far since State of the Union, where he started like actually campaigning again. So if it keeps up, if they can basically keep him trapped within the confines of like short bursts of media appearances, short bursts of appearances in front of a crowd, then they can maybe present the narrative that he is not senile. And then the low expectations that people have of him as a 900-year-old, decaying corpse will actually play to his favor. That's the reason why I think they're going ham on a special prosecutor that basically gave him a gift. Now, let's talk about Gaza. Urgent aid en route to Gaza amid severe food crisis.
On the verge of starvation. A charity aid ship has now left Cyprus carrying nearly 200 tons of food. Now it could arrive as soon as tomorrow as the fighting continues there and the Houthi rebels launch more attacks on cargo ships off Yemen. Chris Livesay has the story.
Houthi rebels strike again. vowing to escalate military operations during Ramadan in support of the oppressed Palestinian people, says a spokesman. 2 missiles failed to strike the cargo ship Pinocchio off the coast.
It is pretty wild that these, like, we went from the Houthis are just like, fuck around and find out. The Houthis are going to see the finding out part of the fuck around part, to like consistent bombing in Sana'a, to, okay, maybe we can't stop these guys from continuously taking pot shots at ships.
Damn, this guy's good.